Hi there, I'm Ariel from NAG, and ever since I played the Crescent County demo, I have been dying to talk about motorbrooms, racing, and all that good stuff. Which is why I am so excited today to sit down with Anna from Electric Saint to do just that. Thank you so much for taking the
of
time to
course.
speak with me. I've been super excited. I
Aw.
loved the demo when I played it. I
Oh,
think
thank you
it's
so much.
absolutely fantastic. Can I just ask, for anybody who doesn't know you, could you please introduce yourself and tell me a little bit of how you got into game development?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Anna Hollinrake. I've been working as a game dev for 11 years now. I think 11 years and 15 no, 11 years and 11 days. Sorry, quick maths.
Wow,
But
so
yeah.
close to your anniversary.
Yeah, well, no, I guess that I was doing some freelance beforehand, but I remember I got my first ever kind of in studio like graduate placement on the 15th of January 2015. So so I mean I'm now the creative director of Electric Saint, making the game Crescent County. But when I was trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do with my life. I was just kind of rabidly obsessed with digital art. I loved being on the computer all the time. And so I just kind of looked to see where I could make that happen most in my life. And I also played a lot of video games. I'd loved video games just since I was very small. And I discovered concept art. I saw some I remember playing Fable 2, I think, and seeing like the loading screens and being like, wait a second, people have painted those like posters. And I am painting character portraits, not good ones. I'm painting a lot of Super Smash Melee fan art right now. But maybe one day I could transform all of that Super Smash fan art into a career. So yeah, I was pretty methodical about it. I went and looked up basically every games art course, like uni course in the country, in the UK. And I went through, looked at all of their graduate work, whether they had the kind of approach that I wanted. I wanted something pretty focused on art rather than like quite broad. And I eventually settled on doing game art at Montfort University. They had a lot of graduates going into games, but critically, they called their first year boot camp, where they just sent you out to draw stuff and you weren't allowed to come back until you could draw it. And yeah, just did that, like sat on a lot of canals, drew a lot of 1 point perspective, and learned how to 3D model and kind of went from there, really. Like, I feel when I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, how did you get into games?" I was like, I did a degree in it, and then I got into games after, working as a data entry temp and a barista and a burger waitress. And yeah, like that's kind of been the route in. But it's surprising when people are like, "Hang on, so you actually used your degree, like you did the
But
degree and then it got there." But yeah, but to be fair, you don't actually really need a degree to get into game art. You just need a nice portfolio. But I require guilt, shame, and obligation to get anything done. So
but you know what? For me, it's not even okay, it is impressive that you are one of a few people who actually uses your degree.
yeah,
But that off the table, it's just always interesting for me because I feel like we come from a generation where you had a family computer that
Yeah.
everybody shared.
Yeah.
And it was still this new thing. Like,
Mm.
back when we were younger, like, there was a handful of games, and everybody played that handful of games, whether you
Yeah.
liked it or not, because that's all that was
That's
available.
what we had. That's what we had. Oh, I don't know. I played some weird stuff from like the Blockbuster sale bin. I played some
Oh,
very like £5 on like I think it was like Sold Out Publishing had a bunch of just random stuff in the Blockbuster bin, and I was like, I'm gonna see what this is. Some very baffling pet games. But yeah, I'm genuinely shocked that I got to play so many like absolute classics now when I didn't have the exposure to like,
yeah.
you know, news websites or general curation. Like I got very into official Nintendo magazine as a teenager, but like one of my ultimate favorite games that I went through 3 copies of is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And I remember standing in the queue in the basement of Debenhams on Boxing Day with my Christmas money being like, I want a video game. And I just picked up Wind Waker off the shelf because it came with Ocarina of Time. And I was like, that's 2 games. There's 2
But
games
that
for the
is
price
how
of
you
one.
used to do it back then. You know how they're like, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
But I discovered so many games by
I love to
standing
judge
in
a
a
book by its
store,
cover.
seeing a box, because they used to be in those big, thick boxes, and being
Yeah.
like, oh, that
Feel
is
like-
the one I want. The game never
Completely.
looked like the box. Never.
Never.
But it was great.
Oh. And there's some games that like I never got round to playing that I remember just like for years standing in the video game shop and just looking at like the cover and being like, I really want to play that. Neverwinter Nights, that's one for me. Like I would look at the box of Neverwinter Nights and be like, ooh. But I never got around to buying it and playing it. Same thing with Phoenix Wright. I came very late to Phoenix Wright. And also there was like a Nintendo DS game that was just like I think a series of mini games maybe. I never knew what it was, but it was just a lady in a bikini and it just seemed very kind of out of like a white outline. And it was orange around it, and but I remember that quite vividly. So yeah. But
I feel like when future Ariel edits this video, I will go do research. I will find that game and insert it here for
There you go.
everybody's viewing pleasure.
Yeah. Completely. Very good. Very, very good.
So,
Um,
just speaking about Crescent County, how long has it been in the works? How big
Oh,
is the
God.
team? And how has your sort of vision for the game evolved from when it was a concept to where it is now?
Oh my God. I mean, like, I originally started coming up with all the motorbrooms stuff back in like 2017, 2018. Like, I remember I was working down in Portsmouth, being like, just like getting to do concept art stuff in a way that I hadn't really been able to before, and seeing how that could translate into a full game, working on this tiny little game for the Google Daydream, called Lola and the Giant, which gave you way too much creative control way too early. It was great. And it was also like such a game that everyone loved. And I got to do like my concept art. I got to, because I'm a chronic generalist, right? So I went from doing concept art and figuring out how like the level should look all the way through to like building the 3D models, getting really obsessive because it was mobile VR, really obsessive about like optimization because you have like three polygons to work with, and then like building it in Engine. So I was really enjoying that sense of ownership, and also like the concept art that I was doing was just kind of my art style anyway, and that really solidified this sense that eventually I was going to have to go indie. Like eventually I was going to have to like try and feel this feeling again, right? And also around that time, it had a lot of coalescing of interests. I had this like development of love for Vespers. Like, I just kept drawing a lot of like Vespers, a lot of motorbikes, a lot of mopeds, and a lot of tumble down environments, stuff that was quite warm and friendly. I was using a lot of like 3D, like very basic 3D blockouts in these kind of Ghibli adjacent environments, and getting a lot of joy out of putting lots of little human detail within that. And then I also was really getting into like I loved kind of the aesthetics and lore of things like tarot. I've got an entire shelf behind me of all of my tarot decks. And I feel like just this I've always loved sci-fi. But I like messy sci-fi. Like I like it when there's this kind of human aspect to it where everything's kind of grubby. And so I feel like that all kind of gels together at once. Like I just drew like one, like I put handlebars on a broom and I was like, no, I feel like I'm onto something here. Um and I think that in some ways like my background in environment art, 3D environment art, more kind of engine work has led to me focusing much more on, you know, the tech and the environments before I focused on the characters per se. Um, but I feel like that it just got stuck in my brain and then I couldn't really drop it. Like I feel I couldn't really let it go. Like I feel a lot of affinity with huskies in that like they'll have a they'll have like a task and they just go, they have to do it. So also because if I don't run around like once a day I get weird and sad and start like howling. But yeah, so I got this kind of idea and I knew that I wanted to do something video gamey with it after doing like I don't know, like a good 6 months to a year of just drawing these things. But I don't really know what form it would take. Like I knew that doing so like I'm a 3D, I have this 3D background, but I was like, that's unrealistic. That's not gonna happen. Doing like a big 3D game. But I experimented with like some smaller kind of 2D versions, like maybe making a zine, like a little interactive zine where you could scan something and then you would have like a printed uh like series of pages and then maybe you'd have like 3D models kind of popping up on your phone or whatever. But nothing really kind of grabbed me enough where I was like, yes, this feels like the thing that is the way to express it. I also, you know, absolutely adored Kiki's delivery service, and I just felt like it was like this mixture of genres was really appealing. And I just needed to make it, I guess. So, yeah. So, I mean, that kind of was just bubbling away in the background for a while. I would kind of just do bits and pieces here and there. Like I remember, just being like, what if I just drew some hypothetical key art, you know, like it's just for fun. What if I modeled a motor broom? What if I, um, figured out what the main character could look like and I started to populate these worlds and then you know back in 2022 it felt like after I'd been working at Mediatonic it felt like a good time to kind of just make the leap because I was like I don't know when else I'm gonna do this. And at this point, I've had this kind of percolation of ideas. I've been working in more leadership roles for a while. I've headed up like new game pitches. I know how that stuff gets put together. I've run a well, no, I suppose that came later on, but I've you know been running a Kickstarter that led into me having my little like personal business for like holding my freelance, I suppose. So I've got an accountant. Like I've got
That's
enough.
very grown up. I'm not gonna lie. That is a
Yeah.
brag right there. I
Yeah,
have an accountant.
yeah, but no, genuinely, because it's like I feel like so much of doing this is accepting the stuff that you can mentally kind of handle and will want to handle, and also like stuff that just isn't a good idea. And me trying to figure out all of the just business logisticsy stuff for setting up things. This is not interesting to talk about. Anyway, I hired an accountant, and I was like, it is now time. I have accrued enough skills. Let's go. And yeah, so like we're working on the prototype. We got some UK games funding for that back in like 2023. But also like we were doing work for hire stuff just to kind of keep the lights on. Like also when we announced the studio, I think we did it in such a glitzy polished way because I wanted to feel legit. I wanted us to feel like, oh, but we're like so indie, like so hilariously indie. It was just like the two of us and some contractors. And yeah, like we just kind of were pitching, but it was like we initially started pitching a very, very early kind of concept idea, and then Liz Truss crashed the economy, and then games funding kind of died and never really recovered. So we were just at this weird kind of frozen time for the industry, so we just weren't feeling like there was very much progress a lot of the time. So we did work for hire, kind of pottering away on our little prototype. And yeah, like we ended up with a lot more game, I suppose, than we anticipated from our demo. And we figured like we'd been kind of developing it quietly for a while, but I'm not very good at being quiet. So I was like, I need to shout about this, you know? I want to talk about it. So we announced the game, and like the response was amazing. We did the demo, which you played, and you did a lovely write-up about it. Thank you so much. And then yeah, like it kind of got to this point where we were like, okay, there's the initially when we were kind of conceptualizing this game, we were going down this, I think, much more traditional development route of it being like absolutely massive, like a huge team, well, not a huge team, but like a 15 to 20 person team, and that's just not something that was like getting funded at the time. So we scaled it down to something that felt more kind of indie, and honestly, I guess kind of more honest to the way that we liked approaching making games. And yeah, like we've just been like we did the Kickstarter and it went really, really well. And now we're just getting to make the game, and it's about like 6 of us. Like we have contractors kind of coming on and off to help out with the bits that like we can't do ourselves. But yeah, so I just getting to do video game development, which is really nice rather than admin. Like or just yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good. So
But
yeah.
that is like you saying that you guys are very, very indie. But I feel like that is where a lot of the magic in video games comes from
I mean, I
today.
completely agree. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please
No,
go on.
no, 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 no.
No, I mean, I think that like there is a certain, maybe it's just because like my experience of like the dev spaces that I was in and the kind of pitching that I was like seeing was like I don't know. I think I felt like I had to, I don't know, just give off this air of like perfect presentability and professionalism, and to be kind of taken seriously, when in reality I'm just kind of an artsy weirdo that loves making lots of stuff. And don't get me wrong, like I love to put a spreadsheet together. I spent a lot of time putting spreadsheets together. Um but yeah, I think I felt a lot of pressure um to, I don't know, you see like those articles about like, oh, this person started a studio and they've got all of this investment, blah, blah. And that just wasn't really the reality of what was happening in the games funding space at the time. But also I think I completely agree, like the magic of just getting to make something that's very like true to what you're looking to create. It's yeah, it's really special. And especially when you've got like lots of people behind you kind of say, yes, we get it and we really love it. So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
And then, if you had to describe the game to someone who's never heard of it, like my grandmother,
Yeah,
how do
yeah, yeah.
you explain it?
So again, I tend to go down two routes, and I'm like, does this person know what Kiki's Delivery Service and Akira is? If not, and I'm assuming your grandmother is not familiar with Akira, like, I would say you're riding souped-up motorbike witches brooms, where you're making deliveries by day and street racing your new friends and crushes by night on a rural witch tech island. It's a single player narrative exploration game. We call it a motor broom adventure because I think clarifying what the hell they're riding on is important, because otherwise people just are like, what is that? And then also being like, it's like a hover bike. It's a hover bike. You don't fly like super high in the air. Well, if you jump off like a big cliff, you can. But yeah, if they are familiar, if you've got a particularly cool grandma, I'd say it's like Kiki's Delivery Service meets the bikes of Akira. I say the bikes of Akira because otherwise I think people think, I don't know, great flesh abomination amalgamations and like guys screaming at each other and strange grey children, which is not the vibe of Crescent County. But yeah, but the bikes, that's definitely that's definitely part of
Talking about bikes.
it.
So, a lot of racing games usually have a really strong focus on your time, shaving seconds off your lap time, optimization. But when I played the demo, the game feels, it's still fast paced, but it's somehow gentler and calming. So, how do you approach making a racing game that's exciting without being stressful?
So I love that kind of clicked with you, because I feel like the people that get it really get it. I was never a huge racing game enthusiast growing up because I found it quite overwhelming and, as you said, stressful. I played a lot of racing games and like motorbike games um in research to see kind of, what I liked, what I didn't like. And I find that, yeah, the intense number of numbers, the focus on having to uh yeah, just win. I mean, obviously. And I'm aware, like, the genre of Crescent County is kind of strange. It's like, yeah, it's narrative, it's got romance, it's deliveries, but also racing. Um, but I no one gets that stressed out when they're playing like Mario Kart. I feel like a lot of people have a bit of a mental barrier with racing games because they're kind of overwhelming and high pressure, and that's not as fun for some people. Like having a bit of that, like having playful competition that doesn't gate you is fun.
Yeah.
Um and I think, especially if you're putting someone on like a cool motorbike broom, you have this gap under the door that I think you're able to like kind of slide under in terms of that mental block that people have. Um, but also like I love going fast. Like I love a sense of momentum, this kind of flow state movement. Um, but I really don't want to feel like I'm rubbish all the time. And I also am really inspired by things like I'm a big roller skater. I love roller skating. And I was really inspired by the kind of culture of roller skating where you'll have like not even kinda not even necessarily competitions, but it's this, kinda underground subculture where you are working on the stuff that you really like to do, and sometimes there will be, like, kind of playful competition or, um enjoying spending time with one another that does have a bit of like, oh, look what I can do, look what I can do. But you're all still cheering for each other. Like if someone falls down, everyone's like, hey, get back up. And you're all just enjoying spending time. So that was kind of the energy that I wanted to come from. Like everyone loves doing this thing, and it's fun to do these playful competitions with friends, but no one is winning any trophies here. You're doing it literally for the love of the game. And getting to spend that time, getting to revel in that subculture, it's just really rewarding. And I think alongside that, I mean, music is very, very important to like my inspiration and having that sense of momentum and that sense of like high octane action, I think is something that we want to come from the music as well, like inspired by a lot of like alt rock and I have so many playlists to kind of like get my head in the game for that sense of like speed and yeah, this is a very rambly answer, but I
No,
suppose
I love it.
trying to take the pressure off enough. Like we don't want people to be like, "Oh, I can't beat Bo in this, race on the second day or something, and therefore I can't progress with the game." Like that's not really what we're going for. Like we want people to enjoy these races and have fun with it. Um, but also it's like a story about you experiencing this island and getting to know the people there, regardless of whether you come first or last, I guess. So
But I really love that. And I love that there's so many different influences from music to like skating, subculture, and all of that. Because when that comes together, you have this rich experience. I feel like back in the day, that is what made the Tony Hawk's games great. And
yeah,
so
completely.
many skateboarding games since then have tried to hit that same thing, but they don't capture that rich culture. And I think that's what your game needs.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely what we're trying to go for in terms of drawing upon a lot of disparate, not entirely disparate influences, but um just stuff that I suppose I'm really passionate about, the team's really passionate about, and just like really committing to it. Just trying to make down to things like the UI, right? Like I love indie comics and um that I feel is very, very part of like or it's adjacent to a lot of skating subculture and like a lot of queer subculture, and it feels like a really nice fit for the way that we approach the UI and the speech bubbles and everything. And it's also just fun. like I love a weird UI. I love anything that's like kind of just artsy and a little bit different, um, and is making kind of like clear aesthetic choices. Yeah, so I think yeah, just even when stuff doesn't always make complete total sense, like I don't know. the tech in the world is very inspired by like Y2K, like the Apple Macs, which were like really chunky and had like all of the colorful plastic and everything, or just like see-through purple Game Boy Color, that kind of thing. And but it has that like tactility that I think people resonate with and miss. Yeah, I like to describe a lot of. I don't I don't know if it's quite as much the case now. But initially when I was thinking about like the phone I was like, okay, what if Windows 95 just kept going? I think we've made it kind of a bit cuter now, but still like just like kind of crunchy tactility. I use the term crunchy to describe the game a lot. I don't know if it makes any sense, but I do. So here we are. But yeah.
And then if you want, let me try that again. If players take anything away from playing the game outside of just the racing, what is a message or a feeling that you hope sticks with them when the game is done?
Ooh, I mean, kind of the core theme of the game, or like the core question of the game that I always felt quite strongly. And I mean, God, we'll, when the game's out and people play it, we'll find out if that actually comes across. I hope so. Uh, but there's this question of how do you find home? Like, what is it like to discover, like, move to a new place and find the people that you resonate with, the people that you want to spend time with rather than just hang out with because you're feeling like kind of lonely and you don't click with them, but you want you're looking for that found family, I suppose. But also like from a very kind of physical perspective, like what is it like to move to a new location and really get to know it and feel that sense of familiarity and warmth, um and the memories that you assign to different places. The game itself, I think, is quite inspired by my experiences of moving to the Isle of Wight for my first kind of like bigger studio job. um Toward the end of 2015, I moved to the Isle of Wight, just off the south coast of the UK. It's literally only like half an hour by like the foot passenger ferry. But moving there and then working at Stainless Games on the old Magic the Gathering Duels PC console games. And like I think I was what, 24? 25. Yeah, 24. And it was just fascinating because it was a very formative experience for me. Um and it's also like island time is a whole thing where if something's more than like 10 minutes away, it's like really far away. My commute with door to door was like 1 minute 40 at one point. I timed it. But yeah, I think that sense of getting to know somewhere, because everyone has to move for work or for school or whatever. I think so many people are just very used to that sense of kind of uh cold isolation of moving to a new place and being like, I don't know anyone, or like, how the hell do I approach this situation? And then slowly over time, you start to build these little connections, whether it's, familiarity at like a shop or coffee shop, little memories at different locations, and it starts to build this patina around this space. And I guess also a lot of this feeling comes from being an environment artist and getting a lot of joy from creating like warm, friendly environments. Like I've been selling my environment art paintings. I make not my 3D, but like my own personal illustrations. I've been selling them uh, as prints and stickers and bits at Comic Cons for years now. And I think the number one thing that people say about my work is that they want to like live in my paintings. And I guess that is also kind of why I'm making Crescent County as well, because I want people to have that opportunity to do that, and yeah, try and see if we can get that sense of warmth and friendliness and joy that I try and like instill my paintings with into, uh, a real life video game. So yeah, like
But
I think that
that's
question of finding
beautiful.
home. Yeah, well, we'll see if I pull it off. But yeah, it's it's something that's really important to me. So yeah, like it's a really fun challenge. Yeah.
And then I just have two quick fire questions.
Mhm.
What games do you enjoy playing when you are not working on Crescent County?
Ooh. What games do I enjoy playing? I mean, I am I haven't picked it up for a little bit because I got lost and then can't remember where I needed to go next. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it has been my most intense poison, I would say. Like in recent in the past year. It's given me so many brainworms, and I also think it's just an absolutely incredible, one of the best protagonists I think we've seen in video games in years. With Henry. Yeah. So in KCD2, because oh my god, just like the exploration it has, like the first kind of open world section is, oh, it's so delightful. You're just wandering around, you're just a peasant and you don't have any stuff, and you get to know all of these like locals. They all have like stupid drama, and it's given me a lot of inspiration as to how to approach like some of the more silly um I guess side stories within Crescent County. But it's just it's got some pretty harrowing moments as well, obviously, but it's also just like a very funny game. Like very, very slapstick. Um I've also been enjoying Hades 2. Just the art is beautiful, 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 beautiful as always. And that rhythm of like jumping in and just doing a run is really nice. Although I still haven't beaten Kronos, which is embarrassing. But yeah, so yeah, I'd say that they're my main two at the moment. We were playing Blueprints for a while, but I think I just yeah, it hasn't stuck in my brain in the same kind of obsessive way that I would say KCG2 has.
Kingdom
I drew
Come
fan, yeah. I drew fan art.
game.
Like I don't draw fan art very often. Like it's
Kingdom
moved
Come
me.
broke me in
Really?
December.
Yeah.
I came home from an overseas trip and I was exhausted out of
Yeah.
my mind. I've
Yeah.
never felt so tired. And my husband bought me the game and was like, here you go, you can chill and play this game. And at a stage, I was so frustrated. And I think he just sensed my frustration and he was
Yeah.
like, what is wrong? And I was like, the stupid guy is half naked. Nobody will talk to me because I'm
No,
half naked.
because
But
you smell and you're grubby.
I need gold to get clothes. And I was so worked up. And he just stood there and he was like, okay, I think you need to go and sleep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then when you have woken up, you can come back and play this game
Yeah.
because clearly it is just irritating you. And I was like, I cannot with this loop right now. These
Yeah.
people are so damn judgy. I'm
Y-
sorry I don't have clothes. I didn't choose to walk around. It's a great game.
Yeah, no. But like, I had a similar moment where I'd spent 2 hours brewing chamomile decoctions, at Bojana's hut, and then was like, I'm going to go on a lovely walk to go and sell my decoctions, and then just got fucking cut down. Sorry, I don't know if I should swear.
No, it's fine.
just got cut down by bandits around the corner because I sucked at combat. And also I was just wearing like a potato sack and probably also was really grubby and no one would talk to me. So yeah, lost like 2 hours of potion time, and then just had to go, and I think I just gave up and like slept in some hay, and was like, screw this, I'm gonna find a different way to make money. And yeah, thankfully found a dead noble on the road and like sold some of his leg armor, and then everything just got better.
Moral of this interview: if you see dead nobles loot through their pockets, things will become better.
Don't worry about it. No potions, only theft.
And then my final quickfire question.
Mhm.
If you had to give any advice to somebody who is thinking of starting to develop their own video game, what would it be?
Ooh, I think focusing on tone is really important. Um, and yeah, thinking about how the game should feel, is a really good guidepost that sometimes we don't always focus on. Like we think more about gameplay mechanics and loops, and I think if you're going for something very systems driven, that does, make sense. But I think something that has always been such a clear guiding light for us in terms of feel, that I think our demo does pretty well, is this kind of soothing sense of like warmth, but also like a little bit of melancholy, and like a sense of flow, um, and we really wanted. There's this, I don't know, this is where I get a bit woo. Like there's this kind of integral sense of like how you should feel when you're playing the game, that is always kind of that guiding star, and really trying to think about that and focus on that I find is very helpful whenever you're trying to make a decision. um and I think if you're more focused on yeah, like gameplay, like the gameplay loops and systems, it's a bit different. But if you're there being like, I need to make something that makes someone feel an emotion, um thinking about uh like music, putting together playlists, getting like even just some really key basic images, not overloading yourself with reference. Like I feel like that's something that people do a lot, that I do a lot. Just finding like a couple key songs, a couple key images that really describe that mood and tone will keep you focused on what you're trying to make so much better, um, than necessarily just like writing down like your core pillars sometimes. I mean, write down your core pillars 100%. But yeah, it's really helpful for communicating what you're trying to make as well. Um yeah, so that would probably be my advice. So
I
yeah.
love that. And then, if anybody watches this and they want to know anything more about you, be it that art that you make and sell at Comic Con, or want to check out the game, where can they find you on the internet?
So, you can find me mostly on Blue Sky or Instagram. It's just my name, Anna Hollinrake, Hollinrake. I get Hollindrake a lot. It is not Hollindrake. It is a cooler surname, but it is Hollinrake, like the garden implement. So yeah, I'm very much on Blue Sky. On Instagram. I sometimes post on TikTok, but I struggle with short form video. But yeah, and of course, if you can check out our video game Crescent County, that would be amazing. Give it a wish list on Steam. Big fan of a wish list. You can play the demo. And yeah, you can also, if you want to see, like I would say the best way to like see a kind of overview of the game itself is probably our Kickstarter page, because I put a lot of work into that, man. It's got a lot of gifts. And yeah, give it check it out. It's a very joyful game made with a lot of love. So yeah.
But thank
um
you so much for taking the time to
no,
talk with me.
absolutely. Thank you for asking to have a chat. This was lovely.
It was absolutely lovely. And please keep me in the loop. I would love to review the game when it finally releases, do some content on it, because I think you're onto something really, really special.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd love that so much. So yeah. And once again, thank you for the lovely write-up. Like, I remember reading it and being like, "Oh, this person like has really gotten what we're trying to do." So yeah, it was really, really special to read that. So thank you.